Hello and welcome everyone to today's workshop on the IOE-ISH Centenary Master Scholarships at UCL, but also a workshop where we will be discussing more scholarships to study at UCL, along with the one that is titled here. So, before we get into it, I'll give you a brief outline of what we're doing today. We will, I'll just introduce Project EduAccess to you and then introduce you to your speaker for today, who will then take you over what the scholarship is, talk to you about the eligibility criteria, the timeline for the application process itself, the personal statement for the scholarship, and for the university applications. And then we'll talk a little bit about other scholarships that are available for postgraduate studies at UCL. And then speaker will give you some general tips in making your application. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, very quickly, we are Project EduAccess. We believe that access to higher education, leadership, and professional opportunities is a privilege that most people from marginalized communities are systematically denied through cost, information, and dispositional barriers. And so we at Project EduAccess try to improve inclusivity in these spaces by removing some of these barriers. We do so by providing mentorship and engaging in advocacy and running in-person and online capacity building workshops. Today's workshop is part of our series of workshops that we run on scholarship opportunities for higher education, and these are public workshops that are recorded and accessible to everyone. So thank you to our speaker who has joined us today in speaking to all of you about the scholarship and for making an application to the UCL to study at UCL. So we have with us Shruti, who did her master's in education, gender, and international development at University College London, which is UCL, and she received this scholarship to do her master's in 2022-2023. Thank you so much, Shruti, for joining us today. We really do appreciate you taking the time out and speaking to everybody about the application process. Thank you, and I'll hand it over to you now.
Thank you, Ms. Ba. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to start with just a basic overview of the entire scholarship and the university. So the IOE Faculty of Education Society was a separate institution a few years back, and that got incorporated with the UCL. So it now comes under the University College London. So this faculty has a myriad of courses, and if like by the end of it, we can paste the link of the graduate taught courses, which comes under IOE Faculty of Education Society. And for all those courses, the said scholarship is there, and there would be others depending on specific programs. So in particular, for the International Students House Centenary Scholarship and the Mary Trevelyan Centenary Scholarship, it covers, as you can see on screen, it covers the university tuition fees. It covers accommodation fees for 1 year. There's a free daily breakfast at the accommodation for the scholars, and there's 50% off for all residents who live at the International Students House. That's lunch and dinner. And there's free brunch for all the residents on weekends. And the other cost related to, say, living expenses, say what you call as stipend as an umbrella, is not provided under this scholarship. There's no age limit for this particular scholarship, and there's no criteria where you have to return to your home country after the completion of your program. The eligibility, if you can change the slide, Ms. Ba. So the eligibility of the candidates are that they should be from low or lower middle income countries, which is according to the World Bank classification, and India does fall under that. India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. So you can see the World Bank list that's also given on the University College London website, and the countries would be mentioned. You should have an official unconditional offer to study a full-time master's degree at IOE, which would be a letter that's issued to you by the UCL admissions when you apply for a college, and then they give you a conditional or a unconditional offer. So you need to have that unconditional offer before you apply for the scholarship, and you shouldn't have lived or studied in the UK before to apply for this. Next slide, Ms. Ba. So the timeline of both the courses and the application. So the application for the scholarship usually opens around, say, January 2024, which is this month. You need to apply to the UCL course of your choice first and then to the scholarship. So there are two separate applications that you need to make. And you can apply to the latter, which is a scholarship bit, only once you have that unconditional offer from UCL. And the deadline of the scholarship application should be around May 2024. And the result is also announced by June of the same year. Next. So I particularly studied education, gender, and international development. There are other courses, namely education and international development, education, economics, and international development. There's art education and a lot of those. So to apply to this one in particular, you need a statement of purpose, and UCL has a supplementary personal statement. I'm not very sure if all other courses also need that supplementary personal statement, but this one did. You also need to submit your academic transcripts, which is your bachelor's or your master's transcript that you get from the university, and 2 references when you fill that application form. And preferably, the references should be, one should be academic, and if you've worked, then one should be professional. If you have not worked, if you do not have a work experience, then 2 academic references also does the job. And then you have to take the IELTS or the TOEFL test score for your English language qualification. There's a standard application fee for the UCL application, not for the scholarship, which is around £90 for the online application. So when you open the UCL portal and once you finish that entire online application form, you'll be paying £90. And you are eligible, like UCL considers requests for suspension of application fees, but for that you have to write to them in an inquiry form. By the end of it, I can send the link, and it's here as well. So once you do that, there can be cases where there is fee waiver in the application form as well. And for more detailed program specific information, like I said earlier, that there are different programs in the IOE department, you can go to the prospectus and have a deeper look. For the personal statement of the department, you should consider these as the following questions when you write your personal statement. So your personal statement doesn't come with questions, but you should keep this in mind when you're writing that. It should be around 2-page long, not more than that. And you should answer these questions on why do you want to undertake the program, whatever program you wish to take. What are your academic interests? Why are those your academic interests? Why do you wish to study in UCL? What educational qualifications and experience you have? Do you have relevant work experience? Where have you worked? And if possible, if you can link that work experience to the education that you've had and you're about to take. How you have had any volunteership or extracurricular activities, and how that also relates to the above mentioned. And what are your career aspirations, which means that what you're doing currently and what do you want to do after you have after you get this opportunity and you finish this course. So some programs here ask for very specific information in your personal statement. Some do, mine didn't. And you can check that in the graduate prospectus. But these ones are, this is the broader, these are broader questions of what you need to answer in your SOP, which is your statement of purpose. And for the scholarship, so as I said, that there are 2 applications that you need to make. This is the personal statement, and another one, which is a supplementary personal statement. It's not always that there's a supplementary personal statement, but for the EGIT course, which is education gender, there was one. There was no question. I think they asked what has been your one experience that you can link to the current, that the course that you're trying to apply, and how does that how those 2 comes together, and what are your academic interests. Something very, very personal that was. I don't remember the exact question, and I couldn't find it in the graduate prospectus as well, but if I do, I shall send it across, and we shall put that across as well. The application process for the scholarship is something where there are 2 questions asked. Ms. Bhatt, next slide. The first question is, as I told you, that the Centenary Master's Scholarship covers tuition fees and accommodation and doesn't cover maintenance in London. because there's no stipend. There's only stipend for like PhD students. So you have to disclose your funds, which is the cost available to you on how you'll be able to survive in London. So the first question, of course, is your financial support. Why are you applying for a financial support from IOE? So you have to give details of your current and expected financial circumstances. You may include like past circumstances, maybe something that has affected your present. And the word count for both these questions are around 400 words. And the second is again detailed academic interests. So your interest in choosing the program, your interest in studying in IOE, what are your ambitions, what are your career goals, how will you benefit your community. So community here doesn't mean your where you live. It can also mean somewhere you would like to work, so a community of children or a community of women or a community of older people, so the community that you would want to give back to. And how does your skill and work and like previous qualification, uh, how will that help you in both this course and moving ahead. So these are the two questions that are that you have to answer while you write the application for your scholarship. There are, of course, other scholarships that come under this. There are external scholarships, say um, Commonwealth Masters, that's of India, Commonwealth Shared, INLACs. All these scholarships are some that you can apply to, and you can check that out. Uh, there's a scholarship finder tool on the website as well, where you can get more detailed understanding of how it works. There are up to around 33 scholarships available in 2024-25 under the India Excellence Scholarship, which is more than a scholarship. It's a bursary. It's a £5,000 bursary. And it's attainable for like 1 year, unless the full-time program is of 2 years. Then in that case, the scholarship will be paid like 50-50 each year. For example, that's the amount, but it will be paid half and half. The other one is the UCL Great Scholarship, which is jointly funded by UCL and the British Council to provide financial support to India, Malaysia, Nigeria, Bangladesh citizens, and a sum of around 10,000 for, again, for only, all of these are 1 year master's courses. So for 1 year is available for prospective master's students. And the selection criteria, again, is academic excellence and financial needs. And the deadline, as you can see, is by 7th May this year. And the other is very specific. It's around the UCL Institute of Archaeology International Master Student Award. It's a £26,000 scholarship, which is paid for MA and MSc degrees in archaeology or archaeological sciences at the UCL Institute of Archaeology. And it's awarded based on, say, evidence of academic promise. So for that, you have to, in specific, have one scholarship statement, and then, of course, your CV and reference letters and transcripts, all of that together while you do the application. And a separate scholarship application by the department, which is again this year, 1st March, by 1st March this year. One thing that, just around some general tips, I would like to say is that you have to start early. Because when you write your personal statement, you have to continuously edit and proofread and send it around for feedback and then revise it. So I would suggest you have a very elaborate first draft so that it can be revised and then you can cut it down. Because when you write the first draft, it should come with all your heart. Whatever you have done, you should put everything there and then try to edit things out, because any other way would be a little difficult as per experience. The second would be write, proofread, and repeat. It is very, very important that when you're writing your statement of purpose, when you're writing your scholarship application, that you stick to answering the question, whatever question has been asked. I think even for the SOP, even on their website, they have given these prompts so that you stick to answering those. It helps. And for you to not go haywire while, because if I'm reading something and if I don't see the questions getting answered, it just doesn't help with the uh, team that's selecting you. And make your writing very thorough and accessible. It doesn't always have to be that you're writing very difficult words and you think that because I've written very difficult and flowery language, it's going to be accepted. It can be, it should read really well. It should read as a story. So I remember getting this feedback that your first paragraph of your statement of purpose should be like someone's meeting you, but they can't see you. So how would they get to know about you? That you write that first paragraph only about like yourself. Who are you? What are your interests? So it can just be a little story and something that will help the person who's reading it be like, oh, I would like to know more about this. Oh, I would like to know more about this person, about what they do, what they want to do. So that should be very I would like to like not like to use the word eye catching, but yeah, I think that you would get the message right if I say eye catching. um, and make sure your instructors, peers, previous scholars, they proofread your application. So proofreading is very important so that the feedback that you get, you work on that and submit early if possible. That's one of the biggest things that help, because the UCL application opens say by October. So try and submit by the end of December. This doesn't mean that you don't submit a good application. It just means you have to strategize your time and the quality of your work. And in case wherever it needs for you to submit something in terms of a document, always make sure you submit a PDF document. And towards the end, I would just like to say that one thing has been very crucial in my academic journey, and that has been that to be true to what you have actually done, to who you are, and where you come from. It's because you bring your own sense of individuality, observational skills, and maybe even contextual challenges. So, for instance, you are someone who wants to change the English textbooks in junior schools in your area, because most of it refers to people who are going outside of homes to work as he and not as she. So, something even that. So, never think of some change or something that you've observed as small, because when you write that or when that comes across in your entire application, it can do wonders. So, the key is just to apply without overthinking, and don't worry about the end result. I'm sure all of you are going to do really well. So, good luck.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Shruti, for detailing everything out so well and for taking us through the application process, both for UCL generally and for the scholarship. So we now open the floor for questions. If you have any scholarship specific questions um, or about writing your statements, please feel free to ask those questions now. Uh, yeah. You can raise your hand and ask your question, or you can put your question in chat, and we'd be happy to take it. Okay. So the question is, does RA work experience count as academic reference because the reference is from a professor?
No, no. So, like academic reference means the place where you have studied. So if a professor who has taught you is giving you a reference, that means academic reference. If you have done RA work, means you were working somewhere, that counts as work experience. So that's a professional reference. It can come from a professor, it can come from a non-professor, doesn't matter. Thank you, Hartej. Misbah, you're muted.
Sorry, I was saying that I have a question in my DM, which is that is the scholarship application also considered alongside your university application? Are they considered simultaneously, or does one happen after
No, no.
the other?
Like I said, you first apply to the university, you first apply to UCL. Once you have an unconditional offer, once you get selected from UCL, it's only then you can apply for this particular scholarship.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think so. There's two questions. We will share the link for the scholarship, and I've already applied to UCL. Okay, and the second question is the scholarship only for gender and education studies, or is it also available for other courses, for example, STEM
So I have
programs? So
sent
that's
the graduate taught courses, and under it you can see if there are other internal scholarships or not. But this one in particular uh, is available for all courses which has education as their basis. So it can be childhood studies, it can be education and international development, education economics and international development, arts education. So I think whatever comes under the umbrella of the Institute of Education, this scholarship uh, is in tandem with it. But anything, I don't know. I don't think STEM programs do come under IOE. But if there's something like, for example, the neurobiology education doesn't, this scholarship doesn't fund that neurobiological education. So you have to go to their page and check if this scholarship is eligible for the course that you're looking at or not.
yeah, and also just if it's as Shruti was saying, it's for a certain faculty and department. But if you look at the other scholarships that Shruti mentioned, you can see if your program is you can apply for those scholarships or bursaries um, while doing
If you
that
don't
program.
mind, Rakshanand, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. What course you have applied to? If you can let us know, I can tell you if I know if this scholarship works for it or not. But there are a lot of questions.
So it's energy systems and data analytics, the
No,
program. Yeah, it wouldn't be.
yeah, it wouldn't be. I don't think so. Still, you can go and check under energy systems and data analytics. If this scholarship comes under it, it would be written on that page. But I don't think so.
Okay. And otherwise, as I was saying, you can have a look at the
Yeah,
um, other scholarships.
both
Uh,
internal and external.
yeah. So, the other question is, should I apply for the application fee waiver before I submit my UCL application? In general, does the 90 € fee come after we press submit? How does one go submitting the course application fee waiver?
Yeah, once you press submit, like uh, when you're finishing the application, that's when it comes. I'm not really sure if uh, you should apply for it first or later, but you can check under FAQs of fee waiver and you'll get your answer on how to go about it. But I don't think it should be a problem if you do it earlier. If you submit an inquiry form earlier regarding the fee waiver, I don't think it should be a problem. But you can check under FAQs. I can send that link. And while we are on this, during your course, you can also, where I used to live at the International Student House, there is a hardship, Mary Trevelyan hardship fee, cover fee, where if you're under some circumstances where you're struggling with something, where you have issues with something, uh, that covers that. But that you can apply if you're in that situation while you're doing your course. I will just send the fee waiver FAQ. Yeah.
Yeah, and also generally, you apply for fee waivers before you submit
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
application. So I would suggest that you figure it out before and now.
Yeah. Yeah. If you fall under conflict zones, if you come under a certain financial difficulty or disability, it covers all of that.
Yeah. So as Rakshanda's also saying that you, I think because Rakshanda's already applied, so she's saying that you make an application for waiver
Okay.
before you submit. So you get, okay.
Uh, can we apply for 2 or more scholarships at the same time? Yeah, of course you can. Uh, you can apply to as many scholarships you want to, internal and external. It depends on what you get at the end, and you can choose one. So if you get, say, two, I don't know how it works for bursaries because they are different amounts and it doesn't cover the full thing. But if you get, say, two applications, for instance, if you get a Commonwealth scholarship and you get this one, then you get to choose either. Which one would you like to go ahead with?
I think usually for at least internal scholarships, if they mention if this is an exclusive bursary or scholarship, so in case you've received funding from other places, if you'd still be able to avail of that or not. So I think you'll have to check the specific scholarship requirement and details to know if you can avail. But for some, yeah, as Shruti was saying, for example, some external scholarships, like for example, Aga Khan Foundation, like if you have scholarship from, like if you have partial funding, then they'll match that and give you the remaining. And so sometimes it works like that with some scholarships.
Similarly,
But
for INLACs also, it works like that.
yeah, but for some, it's all dependent on, again, like if you don't have any other funding, then they'll give you that specific amount. But if you find funding from anywhere else, then they won't. But I guess there's no like binary answer.
You don't get an English language test waiver, Arisha. There's no test waiver for your IELTS or TOEFL test, at least for this one.
Um,
What was the deadline of the application of UCL? January 20. Brahma, you can submit it anytime before the deadline. I was just saying that the earlier you submit, the more time you have in hand because they also make a decision and that takes 2 to 3 weeks. So if you say submit by a December, they will take that much of time to come back to you and then you'll have to do your scholarship application and submit that. But I don't think so it's a problem if you submit by January 20 until and unless you're submitting before the deadline. I think it should be fine.
I think there was another question which was specifically to the scholarship, the centenary scholarship, which is it possible to get the bursaries and the centenary scholarship, or is it just sort of possible to club these scholarships at UCL?
For this one, I don't think so. For this particular scholarship, because it covers the bursary is covering your tuition fees and nothing else. It's not giving you a stipend. And this one is already covering your tuition fees, so there's a clash. So, in case you have someplace else that's just taking care of your stipend, maybe that works out. But anything, if there's a clash between two things that's covering the same things that the other thing is, I don't think so. It would work.
Okay, I think we've answered questions that came in chat, but if we missed something or if you sent something as DM, do you want to send those again in case we missed anything out? If you have questions about the personal statement itself for the scholarship, then feel free to ask those.
Uh, am I audible? I have a question.
Yeah, Akshay, go ahead.
Yes, sorry for late joining. Uh, I applied, means I'm thinking about the doing application for UCL. I am very much interested to pursue a course, policy studies in education. So this course is under the means this course is available for the scholarship. And can you please fill the link that scholarship in the chat box actually? I try to write a SOP, but I need a mentor actually there. That's why I'm facing very some means writing problem actually. I did a I wrote a SOP, but I need a guidance regarding that.
The question was just regarding guidance, or it was also about what link do I have to send?
Means the scholarship link and one question is I'm pursuing means I am very much interested to working on education sector. The course is there, policy studies in education, MA policy studies in education. This scholarship is available for that course. My question is that, and can you please send the scholarship name or link in the chat box? Because I late joined this session. That's all. And also I try to write SOP, but I need a guidance. I need a mentor regarding that whole process. So thanks.
Akshay, so Shruti has sent a link to the scholarships that are available at UCL. So if you're making your application to study now, so at Project EduAccess, we won't be able to provide you mentorship because we've already closed applications for a mentorship program. But what we can try to do is have someone review your SOP depending on mentor availability. But if you can send us an email at info@projecteduaccess.com, I'm just going to send this in chat as well. And just send us the details of the course for which you're applying, the deadline, the name of the scholarship, and send and attach the documents as well, and just and mention the deadline as well in the email, and just mention subject line as sort of urgent, and mention it's for UCL and for a certain scholarship, and yeah, we'll try to get it reviewed on an ad hoc basis by a mentor who would be closest to what you want to study. Um, so yeah, we'll try to do that, but I am not sure if we'll be able to provide you proper mentorship and sort of guidance and doing sessions with you. But again, just send us a document, and I'm going to also link. We've done already a bunch of workshops on writing your personal statement and statement of purpose for university and scholarship applications. And we've also developed guides that will help you draft these documents. So if you haven't already, I'd really recommend that you have a look at the resources that our team at Project EduAccess has developed. I've put a link to that in chat, and so you can just see all of those documents and get a sense of how you can start framing, and then we'll try to provide a review. Sorry,
Thank
that
you
was a.
so much. Thank you so much.
I see that Shruti, you've been answering some questions in chat. Sorry,
I
I
just
took
answered
long. Yeah.
one. Sorry, where did it go? Uh, yeah, Soumya, I think I answered for you that you should ideally apply by Feb to March. And but the timeline again depends on if you're applying to scholarships and what are the deadlines of that scholarship. So the sooner you apply, you'll be able to apply for the scholarship. For example, for I think scholarship, I forgot the name. Uh, it's an external scholarship, Felix Commonwealth, INLAX,
Evening.
Shevening. So for Shevening, it depends. The as soon as you get like your conditional and conditional offers, you can post it. Like it's an open application, so you can submit on the go. But for some applications, you need it so that you can do the scholarship application. It's a prerequisite. So it really depends.
Um, I think there was the English language test waiver question has come up again. Uh, Shruti, do you want to answer that? Sorry.
Yeah, there's no fee waiver for the English language
So you have to take the English language test irrespective.
unless and until if you have studied in UK, US.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions in chat. And yeah, I don't see any raised hands, so I'm guessing nobody wants to ask any more questions. But this, so I think, yeah, so I think we can end the session now. Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us. And thank you so much, Shruti, for doing the workshop, for helping us put it all together, and for taking the time out. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone. Hope you all have a nice rest of your weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck. And thank you so much, Misbah, for whatever you're doing.